Greetings and welcome, people. It's a beautiful clear blue sky, sunny day, and we're still in lockdown, so I thought I'd do a little catch-up, round-up type video. First thing I want to say is that recently my channel got through the 50 subscriber mark, which for a channel that's been going for about 2.5 years, some may not think that's particularly impressive, but I'm very happy about it, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you to all of you who subscribed and to anyone else who takes the time to watch any of my videos. I'm sure that can't be that easy for you, but I do appreciate it. So in my last video that I uploaded, you saw me replace these standard indicators that were on the bike, came with indicators like that from the factory, and I think with the exception of that indicator, all these other three were original on the bike from when it was made. The front left indicator got broken when the bike got dropped a few years ago, and that had to be replaced, so as you can see they're still pretty ropey looking, but I will investigate and probably make a short video of trying to clean them up and refurbish them a bit and see how we get on. So at the end of the last video I think I mentioned that I was having polarity issues with the LED bulbs. I'm still having that polarity issue, but as part of the process of trying to resolve that issue, I put the normal incandescent bulbs back in the new indicators that are on the bike, and at some point, I don't know whether I did something or whether it was just a component failure, they all stopped working regardless of what I did, and I determined that the flasher relay had failed. It does smell rather strongly of burnt electronics and plastic, so I now have a new flasher relay, but I still have a polarity issue with the new front indicators, and I think what I need to do is on the new ones, I need to reverse the connectors in the plug, and I'm waiting a depinning kit in order to be able to do that. So hopefully I bet that will be arriving in the next few days. So once I got stymied on that, I thought to myself, well, there's a few other little jobs that need doing. I have known for quite some time that the backlight on my speedometer on the instrument panel is very dim. I'll put a couple of shots here of how it looks, one from some photos I took which don't look that bad, but I think the camera adjusted the lighting quite a bit. But there is also, I think I'll try and find a still from a video I put up quite some time ago, showing me actually riding the bike in the darkness, and you can hardly see anything on the speedometer at all. It's clearly not good. So as a result of that, I took the instrument cluster off the bike and changed both the backlight bulbs, because I think one of them was probably starting to fail. I haven't as yet had a chance to put it back on and check to see whether that's worked. So hopefully now the new bulbs are in, I'll get that back in and get that tested this evening when it gets a bit darker and see how we go. But of course, in the process of doing that, I needed to remove the fairing infill panels, which consequently gave me access to the area under the control panel behind the headlight. So I thought, well, while I'm in there, I'll crack on and do another couple of small jobs that I've been meaning to do for ages, and I have actually mentioned in previous videos. The first one is something I put a video up, an unboxing video, I think it's about 8 months ago now, and it's to do with installing this. It's a dual camera dash cam system. That's obviously the packaging and the recorder control unit there, and so I decided to start on installing that. Now at the moment it's fairly straightforward and easy. In fact, if we go over to the bike, I can take you through what I've done so far. So at the moment you can see the front facing camera is mounted there. It probably needs a bit of a tweaking on the alignment. That red dot is the protector film that's still on the front of the camera. I won't take that off until I'm ready to start using it. At the moment the bracket is... oh, come on camera, focus. Goodness me. Oh, excuse me. The bracket is only held on with the adhesive pads underneath there, but I will drill and either use the screws that came with the kit or find some bolts, nuts and bolts, and bolt it on properly, because obviously I don't want that flapping about in the breeze at any point. So the cable for that just runs up under the fairing and up to where the frame goes under the tank and goes down that way, as we can see on here. These are the two cables here. In fact, I say two cables because one of them is for the remote control for the taking a stills picture and for locking video files in the event of an incident. As I say, I'll put a link up to the unboxing video where I discussed a bit more about why I chose this system, and hopefully it might explain it a bit more. But while I was under here, I did another job that I'd been meaning to do, which was to sort out the cabling for the heater grips, the Datasteel Thermogrips. Now, they came, as most of these hot grip systems do, they come with quite a lot of cabling. Obviously they're not bike specific, so they need to put enough cable to suit any bike. But when I first installed them, I left the excess sort of coiled up down here, and over time that's sort of come uncoiled and has sort of spread around. So what I've done now is I think we can get it under here, is the cable is now pulled through under the tank, and the excess is currently here. And what I will do at some point in the near future is cut off probably about a foot of that, keep the fuse obviously for the live, and tidy it up that way, but at the moment it just tucks out the way somewhere down there, like so. Oop. Get under there. There we go. It's just temporarily out of the way there. Now, as you can see, looking at the underseat area on the bike, there isn't an awful lot of spare room under here. This area at the back is slowly getting filled up with bits and bobs. Obviously the fuse box was already there, the new flasher relay, indicator flasher relay is there, and I have got some wiring here which is a bit untidy and is a work in progress. That is going to get sorted out, but as you can see there's a little bit of room under here, but at some point I'm going to get a new alarm system fitted on the bike, so I may not have that space available for the control unit, which I will just go and retrieve for the dash cam system. So this is not waterproof, it has to go somewhere that's not exposed to the weather, so I can't mount it on the handlebar, or not permanently anyway. So the only other place I could think of for it was just, oops, excuse me a minute, just there. But I don't think that space is intruded into by the seat pan, so I'm hoping that'll be safe there, but I will obviously check it. I'm not just going to go slamming the seat down on there and hoping for the best, because it may have raised this cable up higher and that might put pressure on the screen and break it, and I obviously don't want to do that, but I will be careful. The other thing I've got to bear in mind is that this might be subject to electronic interference from the CDI unit and the ignition system. Obviously one of the camera leads runs all the way under the tank, across the top of the engine, past the HT coils and the spark plugs and things, so I'll have to see what interference that generates. I've got some ferrite choke beads to go on the cables if it does generate interference, to try and reduce that. At the moment my main problem seems to be, or two main problems with the dashcam system seems to be locating the rear camera, which needs to go back here somewhere. I was thinking about putting it here, but the bracket that comes with the camera is not suitable for, it's just basically too small, it doesn't reach the plastics back here. I suppose I could try and mount it on top of the Scott Oiler reservoir, just looking out over the top of the number plate there. But that's going to cover up some of the reflector, but it may not be a problem. And that part of the Scott Oiler reservoir is just an open space underneath there for the filler tube. I'm sorry if this is getting a bit loud, but I'm forced to be quite a bit close to the microphone. So I either need to make up a bracket to go here, or I need to see what the options are for mounting on there, so it's something else I need to look into. The second problem is powering the darn thing. Let's go back to the table where the bits are. The unit comes with a 12 volt to 5 volt adapter, sort of thing you get with most dash cams for cars, and it's a 2 amp output. It also comes with a USB adapter, so you could use just a power pack. The other thing I'm going to try and test out to see whether it will run this unit is a regular USB 12 volt to 5 volt USB adapter, to see whether it outputs enough power and that I can cut down the wiring on. Because as you can see, and as I mentioned in the previous video I referred to, there seems to be a heck of a lot of wiring involved in putting one of these camera systems on, and a lot of it is not actually necessary, it's just there, you can't get away from it. So I think that just about sums that up at the moment. I've just had the charger on the battery again for a while. I will test the dashcam system, as I say, to make sure that it works, and I will do that with the engine running to see what interference it generates with the control unit here, right beside the CDI unit and right underneath all this cabling, as I said. And even though the front camera has already been installed and the cable runs right from the front of the fairing up through the fairing area, under the tank, all the way along here and up here, there's still quite a bundle of wire tucked away behind here. And when I mount the rear camera, I'm going to need almost none of that wiring, but I still have to have it on there. I cannot eliminate it from the system, I have to plug it in, because the plugs that plug into these are not compatible end to end. You have to have that 3 metre extension lead. It's ridiculous, 10 feet of cable on each camera. Who has got a 20-foot long motorcycle? It's ridiculous. But there we go, that's what we work with. As I say, as I mentioned in the previous video, if once I've had it installed and running for a while, I probably will look into getting those intervening pieces of cable, certainly for the back camera, reduced to a very short piece. I'll either try and do that myself, or I'll try and get that done professionally, so it's a good job, so that it will still work. So, yep, still work to do, still things going on. Hope everybody's keeping safe and getting some interesting things done when they can't go out riding. Somebody might say, well, what's interesting about this? Well, I think it is. I'm sorry if you don't, but there we go. So I'll say thank you very much for taking a quick look. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll speak to you again soon. Cheerio for now. Bye.